Damn, it's been 2 years?
I think so. When I got back from Japan. Wasn't that the last time I saw you?
No, I feel like we talking.
That was 2017.
I see you. Yeah, I feel like I see you.
Cause you went to Japan in 2017, right?
No,
Because that's when I was in Copenhagen.
In 2019, I saw you.
Where did we see each other?
I thought you was in Japan 2018. Was it 2017?
That was 2017. 'Cause I was in Copenhagen. And y'all, one of that, you was in what, Mali or some shit?
Bali.
Bali?
I ain't seen you since
No, stunting.
2017, bro.
Oh, you was somewhere
3 years
too.
ago?
I was in China. I was
Into 17.
No, I was in India.
Okay. I knew, yeah, Taj Mahal and
Think
shit.
about it. When else
Y'all
have
some
we seen
traveling
each other?
brothers.
Every other time I come here, you always
But I beat that
like,
coronavirus shit, Toast.
No.
Shit.
Yo, man, I ain't
The
worried
one
about that.
podcast.
Ain't nothing you can do about it.
So we recorded.
You recording?
Yeah.
It's first time, huh?
Yeah, it was good. It was
Whole crew.
Some good info coming
Shit,
out.
whole
Is it
motherfucking
started?
crew here.
Yeah, we here. We started.
Oh, okay.
Whole crew here. That's some dope shit, man. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's on. You don't need to. There's no button. It's just
Can you hear me?
on.
Check.
Say something.
Hello.
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
the
a better
gain
mic?
and stuff. Kinda.
Can I have that mic?
What's the difference?
What you asking for?
I
fucking with you.
I don't know why it didn't make sense to me. I'm like, what's happening here?
I wanted to confuse you.
Yeah, come on.
Just call me when you get there.
All right.
I'm good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You sound good.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, so I think everybody just introduce yourself, and then one thing I want to say before we start: this is our 2-year anniversary of when we started. the
Happy
pod.
birthday.
So and it's Black History Month, so
Absolutely.
we got a couple things to talk about. It's a leap year. There's a lot
Yeah.
going on
It's
today.
my grandfather's birthday.
Oh,
Shout out to
happy
Grandpa.
birthday,
man.
Grandpa.
He gets it once whenever this 29th comes around.
Every
4 years.
Yeah, I got a boy like that back home in Atlanta. Like, he was born on the 29th of leap year, so he got the, his birthday fluctuates.
Yeah,
I
did.
like March.
I looked it up because
It's about
basically,
March.
like, I was wondering why we still had a leap year, but it says that the Earth goes around the sun 365.25. So yeah, every 4 years they gotta add a day.
Look at this motherfucker being Wikipedia and shit. I
I'm
like
just
that.
saying.
and shit.
The more you know.
The educated Negro.
Right.
Exactly.
It's Ja Rule birthday too, right?
What?
Yeah.
Shout out to the Queen's GOAT, Ja Rule.
I don't know.
Shout out
about
to the
that.
GOAT.
Why Queen niggas don't really collect that nigga, right?
He's whack.
He got finished.
Hey, but
That
let-
nigga Rule
let's-
is a fucking joke.
But let's be clear though. For a good 5-6 years. they
Yeah, I'm
produced
not
nothing
saying he
but
ain't got hits, but that nigga
Hits.
Rule is a joke, man. Give me a verse. Give me a bar. Give me one quote
would I
that
be
nigga
without
ever
my
said.
baby?
I don't. Yeah. Baby.
What I feel
Got
about
good-
you. That nigga ain't got no lyrics.
Cookie
That
monster
nigga's
ass
terrible.
nigga.
It's amazing. We in Black History Month on talking about Ja Rule.
Talking shit
Gotta
about
We're
Ja
Ja
Rule.
talking about Ja Rule on
The last
Black
day.
History Month of the new decade. God damn it. Can we start with
Yeah,
the
let's move
introduction?
on. Go ahead.
Hello, everybody. This is Shay, the original Queen's Don Dada. How y'all doing?
Yo, this is 1000 representing Southside Chicago.
Oh, this is Colfax representing the South Side. Veteran.
Easy Rose, Brownsville, Brooklyn, Trust One.
This your boy, the Grady Baby from ATL by way of Decatur, AD all day.
Yeah, man, it's your boy Tony Stallion. I think for the new decade, I'm going with Chef because I be cooking up these podcasts. So I'm like Tony Chef.
Digging into his
glorious,
woo bag
man.
now.
New
That's
bag,
glorious.
new name.
Dagging
All
into the
right.
woo bag.
All right, go ahead, 1000. Let's go.
All right, guys. So I got a chance to host today. So
And keep in mind, you're hosting with all of us here as a unit.
put
Four.
that
Oh,
Four
yeah.
units.
Voltron.
So
Voltron.
this is Voltron like collecting today.
Yeah.
So let's get right into it. It's Black History Month, last day of Black History Month. So my first question is to everybody: how did you celebrate, respectively? How did you celebrate Black History Month? Is it still relevant to you? Thoughts on Black History Month 2020?
One of the things that I did to celebrate is kind of like just enjoy life. I think I want to say.
Okay.
Word, that's powerful. For the second class that I did this year, I'm a professor, so the second class I did was all about Black history, understanding how Black folks have been portrayed historically in advertising, showing that there's a better path forward, right, and keeping a level of respect when it comes to speaking to targeted audiences. A lot of my students are persons of color. There are women. I have some LGBTQIA.
A lot of alphabets.
Plus folks, right? So just letting them know that there are organizations that try to speak to them. So I use Black History Month as the concept for understanding cultural diversity.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, for me, I just try to stay mad, stay angry, keep that passion going, because Whitey is the motherfucking devil. And
Well, we can see who's militant in this one.
dead ass though. No, I've listened to a lot of Malcolm X. Matter of fact, over on the way here, I listened to the King Holiday Chorus,
Yeah,
just to
great.
get my vibes going. But seriously, we need to have that voice again, because right now we are under
Absolutely.
attack, and I believe that we don't have that articulation anymore that speaks truth to power, like brother Shabazz did, at that time. So it's like when you listen to him, you hear that forcefulness that we don't have anymore, that anger. People are like, why angry? Why angry? Why are you so mad? And it's like, because we have the right to be. So we need to start getting that anger again. And every time, February rolls around or whatever, and you start to get these Henry Louis Gates, documentaries and shit, and here and there, and sees different things, like, use that. Let that fuel you for the remainder of the year, because shit ain't sweet.
Right. Hey, it is what it is.
You ever notice, not to derail, but I feel like there's more and more other events that occur during Black History Month, like I know we're going to get into that later, but like All-Star Super Bowl and stuff.
Grammys.
That it feels like the month kind of flies by with all these events that's going on. Sorry, that was just a hot take. I didn't really have a...
No, I mean, it's cool. It's for me, I actually like that it's, Oscars, Grammys, All-Star, all those sorts of things kind of in this realm of Black History Month, because you're going to have the overlay of Black history throughout.
Right.
And then don't let something unfortunate like, say, Kobe's passing happen,
Right.
That
or
January, right.
and then it just amplifies it even further. I just wish that obviously it wasn't the shortest month of the year. I understand what brother Charles Woodward.
I don't know where
Who's the founder of
Carter.
Black History Month?
Carter G. Woodson.
Carter
Carter
G.
G.
Woodson.
Woodson.
Carter G. Woodson.
What the fuck?
Carter G. Woodson.
I don't even know the first name he said. Then he looked at me as if I should have
Well,
known.
you want
You know why I looked at you?
You one of them
You know why I
book
looked at
niggas.
you? You know why I looked at you? Because it's the library on 95th. Carter G. Woodson Library on 95th.
Then you should have known it.
I'm looking at you like, what's the name of the library? I'm literally like looking at you like,
Bro, he
like read
dropped
my
the
mind right
name
now.
That I was like, I don't know him.
But the point is that I'm trying to. I would love to know the thinking behind February, because of the weather, the shortness of the month, things like that.
Well, I mean, it started as a week, right?
Yeah, it
So
did
Carter
start
G.
as a
week. It was a
So
week.
why in February?
And brands actually made it into a month, ironically. So it's funny how it started as a week as a form of educating us or just celebrating our history. But it was a brand activation that turned into a month-long thing,
Speaking of brands, though, I think it's interesting when I look at Black History Month in comparison to, say, something like Pride, right?
Yeah.
So when I was looking at Pride last year and everything that was happening, I felt like Pride was like, it permeated everything that we saw. Like,
Right.
It was everywhere, from
Yeah.
packaging to
Right.
parades, like everything. And I was like, wow, like when did this happen? Like I don't ever really remember it like
Yeah,
being
what was
as
the
But it had a
Precipice.
tipping point, right? Like, it had a tipping point. Like, even
But Black History Month, I've never seen Black History Month represented like
Well, you
that.
know why? Because we don't have the designed mnemonic device like Pride or
that's an excellent point.
like breast cancer awareness.
Those are symbols.
Yeah, we don't have the visual symbol that
we got
literally a rainbow can be put on a shirt, like you see when you go into H&M during Pride.
And
or
let's
be
not,
clear.
let's not be crazy. You
We
know,
do got
they
the red, black, and
stole-
green.
They stole
The rainbow from us.
from Jesse,
That's right. The rainbow came from black people,
Southside
ironically.
Chicago.
It came from us. And we got the red, black, and green, but not a lot of us
you ain't gonna
actually
see that.
believe in that, though.
But you
right?
ain't gonna see that on Ralph though.
Ralph?
You saw Pride. You saw
Well, I
Pride
don't
on
know.
Ralph. The
Big-
pony was was.
Well, Big
but
Blue,
this is back to
Big
us-
Blue, ironically, had a T-shirt that had the Pan African colors.
Right.
So
But
it's
that
like
ain't Ralph, though.
It ain't Ralph.
This to me is back to us not only claiming our history, our story, but also creating a plan.
Right.
I feel like LGBTQIA+, they had a plan for not right here and what happened in the past,
Right.
but more so they're always future thinking. So they're thinking,
Absolutely.
all right, here's a mnemonic device, the rainbow flag. Now you can put that on anything, and as well, their story is more applicable to everybody.
But not really.
Hold on, let me finish.
Not really.
In the sense that I can support
You could.
LGBTQIA in the same way I can support breast cancer awareness.
Right.
I don't feel that Black history,
Yeah.
everybody feels the same way, that like I can feel free to rock if I'm a woke white man in Manhattan, I can rock a Harriet Tubman shirt,
Right.
or a Frederick Douglass shirt, or a Malcolm X shirt,
Right.
particularly.
But you think they would rock a pride shirt?
Absolutely.
I don't agree with that.
When I
I actually agree with, because I've seen,
You've seen people who are not of that culture.
yeah, rock it all day.
Really?
Yeah.
I've rocked it.
They're called
When I was
advocates,
at-
bro.
When I was at Vice working,
Advocates.
they
100%.
they advocates.
Yeah, they're
Advocates.
advocates.
They,
That's a
they
title.
handed out
Allies.
shirts.
Yeah.
100%.
Because the name of the shop was Virtue, the virtue of pride, and it was rainbow shirt, and we literally all paraded down the streets of Dumbo, rocking our shirts, and I still have that shirt.
Well,
Interesting.
one thing I was going to say that too. I think Pride does a good job of having some like a stamp or something that like a big event that is led up to starting from the beginning of the month, and also there are several Pride events around the world, and then one place is chosen as like the global Pride parade, and I feel like Black History Month, we don't have anything that leads up to like the 28th or something that leads up to the last weekend where it says like, all right, all these events and things that brands have been doing, here's like the end all be all stamp, and I agree with you too in terms of like logos and all that.
I guess for me, bro, like, look, for me, in my household, we celebrate Black History every day. That's number one, right? But I do try to make sure that during Black History Month, and I try to do something that's actually a little future forward, right? Something that I feel like I can own, right? Because brands can easily take over a story, take over a narrative, and they're not really always authentic, right? So, yes, you look like Pride having a whole lot of activation only because brands did that, right? So, the same thing with Black History Month. A lot of times, me coming from Atlanta, we will only hear from the King family during the month of February, or when they want to talk about King, right? During January and February, right? But other parts of the year, you won't hear anything. So I feel like, Black History Month going forward maybe need to be rethought, right? Is it relevant? I don't know. But I think the way you make it relevant is like, how do we create new history? Because we've been fed the same old narratives since we've been around. Like, I'm 43, right? I think I've heard enough stories about, Rosa Parks.
Right.
We haven't heard the complete stories of Martin Luther King, and you don't even talk about Brother Shabazz and actually Marcus Garvey and the countless other like unsung heroes of the civil rights movement, which in my opinion are the lawyers. Nobody talks about them, the guys who handling the business. Because let's be honest, Black History Month, Pride, Music History Month, at the end of the day, we in America. This shit is about money, right?
And shit is about
So
positioning.
if we want to
too.
talk about it, let's talk about it, right? Let's really, how do we reinvent Black history? I think we do it through money. Or really owning it, right? Every day.
No, yeah, I agree with that. That's what I was thinking, like as you were speaking, right? Like I feel like Black History Month, so it's kind of like a two-pronged thing, right? So we're dealing with, in comparison to something like Pride, right? So we're dealing with number one, money, right? The people who fuel Pride and fuel just that entire movement is like it doesn't really has to do with race or like how tall you are or where you live. It's just like something that you identify with. And you might have someone in your family that is impacted by that. So like you just like join forces, and there's dollars that's being pumped in behind it. From a Black history standpoint, like I don't know if this country was ever designed to care about Black people in their history anyway, where you can actually put dollars behind it. Because if you look at any kind of media agency or marketers, when they do try to have a Black history push, like it always comes off bad, and people like, damn, like that looks crazy.
What do you
Like,
think about the stuff like Nike does, like when they release those Black History Month shoes? Do you think that's pandering, or do you think it's relevant, or what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, to some capacity, I think it's relevant. I mean, if you're talking about like every day, what Nike means to people of color, it's something that's relevant to them, as well as like they have the influences of the athletes who people do look at for whatever reason. Might say like you take LeBron, you see a young kid, LeBron looks like me. So I mean, just fueling, like adding all that stuff to the pot, like I think is relevant.
I mean, personally,
as long as it's done right.
personally, I'd like to see Nike step up a little bit more and do more storytelling behind it, because I feel like they kind of pander a little bit with a lot of culturally relevant events where they just slap on like the LGBT rainbow onto a sneaker and then release it for Pride, or for Hispanic Heritage Month they might have a Dominican designer do Air Force One, which they did last year. So like I would love to see more of like the content and storytelling of maybe more like historically unknown black designers. Maybe they don't have any, but maybe they can kind of highlight them, or maybe they can do something to highlight people in streetwear on like the sneakers app. They could do something more, I think, to really highlight.
I would like, regardless of be it Nike, a car company, whatever, technology firm, I would like Black History Month to be the beginning of an ongoing thing. So like use Black History Month to highlight a designer like the brother that does Super Heroic or something like that was a Nike designer, but then say, okay, we're going to do a drop that's like these new Jordans, right, in partnership with Ghetto Gastro or Josh Kissy or somebody like that, right, a designer. And we're going to fund an ongoing program.
So it's not just a one shot.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's not just a one shot during the 1 month of the year, that it's the kickoff during the month because now we're in the month. But this is an ongoing program that this time next year we'll then come back and say, okay, this is how it performed. This is how well it did. And I think that's how you begin to create longer lasting legacies that aren't just about this 1 month.
I'm very conflicted because Nike can have 100 black athletes, but then they don't have 100 black employees.
No,
so
they do.
I'm using round numbers. I'm using round numbers.
They do.
But if you look at the workforce, it's not going to be
Percentage-wise.
it's not going to be a 50-50 split. It's not going to be people who are in positions of power and authority. So I think you need to have people who can say yes and make things happen. And unfortunately, oftentimes it's not us, right? Or people of color or people who are from different communities and cultures. So I think the best thing you can do for Black History Month is put people in positions to be successful and allow the talent to flourish. And if the talent doesn't flourish, then that's another story.
Great. I like that. Let me ask one more Black History Month question, specific to you all's offices. So I've been to a couple of different agencies this month, and I've seen Black History Month done in a few different ways. One place that I was in, I thought it was really funny. They had a wall, right? And everybody in the entire agency, I would say 90% is white, right? It might be 6 black people in there, and then the rest is like maybe Asian or Hispanic, what have you, right? And so I'm looking at this wall, and it probably has like maybe 25 pictures of black people with a little bit of copy underneath who these black people are. And it's just in the hallway. And it's in the hallway between the lunchroom and like the main, I guess, pit where everybody sits or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And as I was looking at it, I was thinking like, how many people actually stop to read this? Right. And does anybody care? And then is this wall enough for the 5 black people that work here, right? Or that the couple black people who walk in and out of the office, like me. Like I was just there visiting for the day. So I was wondering, like, what do you all think of, like, should offices do something specifically for Black History Month and their employees, whether it be like a physical representation or whether it be like programming, like throughout the month? Like,
how about
what are
they
your
hire
thoughts on that?
motherfuckers? How about that? Let's talk about motherfuckers hiring us. Hire people. I mean, think about it. What's the best way you can empower any community?
Money.
Economically, yeah.
Economically, man. Like, you know, I've been having this big, like, conversation with people about the topic of diversity and inclusion. I think we got to change it. We got to change the name.
Yo,
it should be more about diversity and empowerment.
Diversity and employment.
That
yes.
too, but that's empowerment though, right? Because
yes.
you can include a bunch of Negroes all day, right? By, you know, invite them to a party, you know, rub them on the back, give them a bottle of Hennessy. I ain't talking about you, Shell. You know. I ain't talking about you, but I'm just saying, right?
Even though somebody did get free Hennessy
right.
during the agency event.
Right.
Recently.
Hey, I was just at Anomaly the other day, right? And I did like a activation for, you know, Pepper, and, you know, selling some prints or whatever, right? But again, you know, it's cool. They had a bunch of us, I guess, there. I don't know how many people was hired, but I think it goes back to that, man. Like, you know, unless you're hiring people, from the community? And what are we talking about?
Once again, man, I just feel like,
Or do we create our own? Show me the stack so I can create my own shit.
I just feel like we bullshit. This country bullshits constantly. We bullshit as the oppressed. They bullshit as the oppressors.
Well,
Yeah.
Are
That
we talking
wall
about
you're
our
talking
country?
about-
Let him finish. Sorry.
That wall you're talking about is bullshit. It's placating. It's patronizing. And to me, it's like, let's talk about causality and externality. We come from only the position of externality right now, which is, okay, so we're here and let's show the 5 black employees up at whatever agency, fill it in on our screens, which is easy and painless. But no, let's have the real conversations about slavery, Jim Crow, racial profiling, redlining, and all those things as an ad agency, as a marketing company. And then let's put dollars behind those conversations to affect what we can from our positions, right? So if you're a woke white and an ally, quote unquote, and you are the CEO, the CMO, the COO, or whatever, then I want you to say, okay, not only are on this screen is our 5 black employees that we're going to be showcasing during the month, but we're also doing the work over here by providing $10,000 scholarships to Johnson C. Smith, Howard University, Hampton, to these folks, and they're going to come up through our system. And as such, we expect in 5 years that they're going to be in this position. That's how you make change. And that, to me, is what I don't see. So it's all bullshit to me.
But what about the brown agencies who actually have the chance to do something really unique during Black History Month, i.e. the agency we used to all work at, right? They have the means to actually launch and incubate. No, they got the means. They got access. See, the thing about the means is they may not have the liquid cash themselves, but they have access to money, right? Why is it that these guys don't actually create unique experiences that celebrate the culture and empower the culture too? So
That's because they don't have vision, number one.
There you
and
go.
They don't plan well.
I can say where I work, we are literally one of the most culturally diverse organizations probably in America and on the planet. The reason why is because it's good business. And even when we have our agency folks, and we actually resigned a big agency this year because they did not have cultural diversity. They did not reflect our customer. So that's why we let them go. And they were a Rolls Royce. So we talking about like $40 million of billing, not including production and media. Rolls Royce. So with that being said, I think agencies have to consider what the world looks like as opposed to what you think the world is. Mm-hmm. So I am not as militant as some of my constituents here, but I will say this though: inclusion is money. Green is the most important color in America.
Absolutely.
I think you brought up a good point, and we can wrap this up. I think it starts with the brands. I think when I know that there's a brand that my agency pitched, and they said they didn't want to hire us because they felt like we didn't have enough cultural diversity, and then also this is an old story, but Beyonce allegedly chose to go with Adidas because other sneaker brands she felt weren't culturally diverse, or like they just kind of took her name off the design and you could slap anybody on it. So I think it starts with the brands, and once they start demanding it, then agencies will start to follow. I do think agencies could start, but I think if you really want to push it and force them to kind of make the change, I think once brands be like, yo, like why aren't there enough women in this room? Why aren't there enough people of color in this room? And start demanding it, then it's like it becomes a money thing, and then it's like, oh shit, we gotta hire these people.
Right, so it's a consumerism thing, right? So like if we stop seeing the flow of the black dollars, then it's like, damn, now we need to figure out, well, how do we talk to them? And then that's when you can bring in people who or have expertise in speaking that language, right? So, I think it all goes hand in hand.
Yep. So you know what? Since we're still on the subject of Black History Month, I want to do what you said, Colfax, and kind of think about some other things that happened this month. There were a lot of things that happened this month outside of the Grammys, Oscars, and all that. One thing I want to talk about is the Super Bowl. So the Super Bowl was actually the second day of this month, and just want to get you all's initial thoughts on the Super Bowl. Why are you laughing?
You already know what Cole say about the Super Bowl.
I mean,
Fuck the Super
I didn't
Bowl.
watch.
so hold on. Let's have a short segment with this because I know somebody here is a big fuck you to the Super Bowl and the National Football League. But any thoughts on one thing I want to just talk about? Really, just like are the ads that we saw, and then the other thing that I saw is that the cost of a 30-second spot is going up exponentially,
Like
right?
$5 million now, right?
And we've had, I think it was 5.6, wasn't it?
Oh shit.
And so I just think about like with the Super Bowl, does it even make sense like for a brand to really play in that space? Like I saw a lot of ads where I was like, okay, that was interesting, or some I saw that I was like, wow, that was dope, right?
Yeah.
But does it really make sense? Do you think, like, especially working on all of the different pieces of business that you all have worked on, does it make sense to do the production for that spot and to like place that media buy? Like, what are your thoughts on it, when and if it's necessary?
My initial reaction and question is is advertising effective? That's my initial question. Like, if you see an ad, like, okay, yeah, I need to go take this action to go do this thing, right? Whereas I work in experience and I work on products. So I think about it a little differently, but I don't know what the true value or CPM is of an ad today on the Super Bowl. I don't really know. How can we determine it?
Nah, I was just gonna say I don't even know if you really from a Super Bowl ad you're looking for a call to action. I think it's more so I forget the term, but I think it's more so like to remind audiences of like their
Awareness.
brand. Yeah, more awareness. Because like I think
Damn, advertising professional, you don't know awareness? What the fuck?
I just make the shit, man.
You can tell he a producer. Like motherfuckers, they don't care. They just want to check boxes and just make the shit live.
Be there at 10.
But one thing I would say, I think it's kind of like I would say it's kind of like a notch on your belt. It's like going to the Super Bowl or going to the championship game, because like, yeah, you don't need it, but I think as a creative, as a producer, as an agency, it's a good look to be like, yo, we made a Super Bowl ad that's gonna be looked at by millions of people. Whether they care about it, that's another question. But
Yeah, so essentially it's a dick measuring contest, right? So like
Say that.
it is, right? So like that's like asking, yo, why even do out of home on Times Square? Like you don't have to do it, but like people go to Times Square to see Coca-Cola and all this shit.
own it.
Now and so you asked, is advertising effective? And it's like almost you need stake in the game, right? So like here we are, as podcasters, right? We might not advertise as much as other podcasters. So these guys, but we might be nicer than them. We could be better than them, right? We're all professionals, come from different walks of life, and our experiences are different. But they just have dollars that's pumping their bullshit ass content out there, and people are reacting to it. So in that regard, I would say advertising is effective. But at the end of the day, like I just think that like, yeah, I'm gonna put $5.6 million behind the Super Bowl ad, and then I'm gonna put additional media that continues to roll throughout the end of the year or through the first half or first quarter. Let me jump into All-Star Game just because I paid so much for this for me to produce this actual spot.
Well, I mean, look, if you're going to ask, going back to the question you asked, is it still effective and which ad I like? Well, I would say that it's effective if you think it is, right? If that's what you value, I think it is effective because you got regular people saying they're watching the Super Bowl for two things, for the team and for the ads. When you got non-advertising people, so they watch the Super Bowl for obviously the game and ads, then I think it may be still relevant to a certain degree from a business standpoint. Now, as anybody at this table, which ad they like, probably a harder thing. Now, I do the ad that I kind of, remember is the one with Cheetos and, MC Hammer.
that was good,
Can't touch
yeah.
this, right? I thought I was good. Mind you, I would never go buy a bag of Cheetos because I just don't eat that shit.
I'm just tired of niggas dancing and smiling and all that shit, man. Like,
But see, that's my point, though.
that
And then, see,
Facebook
let's just get to that point.
can niggas stop dancing and smiling and grinning?
No.
Popeyes.
Oh.
I'm so fucking tired of niggas singing for chicken. Literally singing for chicken, bro.
Yo, I love
And
this
I'm just so fucking tired of this goddamn chicken sandwich. But they have a commercial.
They got a commercial.
Where a nigga walks in the door.
Yeah.
With a bag of fucking Popeyes and he starts singing to it.
Yeah.
And then the other commercial about the goddamn
have it.
sandwich where it's like you see a multiplicity of people.
Yeah.
But the two niggas in there are talking to the sandwich. Ooh, you looking so right today. And oh my God, I got this fucking sandwich. Nigga, that's what I'm talking about. It's causality and externality. We got to understand why we are here.
Yeah.
And they got to pay for it. And we got to stop supporting that shit in every single way possible. Those actors that took that role, no, wrong on you, nigga.
Yeah.
I understand that's probably a $500 to $7,500 gig. I get it. And if you got bought out, I get it. That's even more. You could tell that story. But the point is that we got to at some point collectively be like, yo, I ain't singing no bag of fried chicken.
Crispy
No, I'm
chicken,
not doing
fresh
that.
lettuce.
Yeah, it's funny.
Y'all remember that,
It's
Mary
funny you
J?
say that, right? Because
Mary J.
I remember working at Global. Yeah, and that
Crispy
and
chicken,
that shit
fresh
got
lettuce.
memed to no end. Camilo X did a dope remix of that shit. Sorry, but that remix was a motherfucker. But anyway, yo, and that was one of my creative democracy decks. You know, check that shit out on
Yes, sir.
online. But anyway, to your point, Cold Facts, that I remember working at Global Hue a long time ago. Yeah, I can say that. I don't give a fuck. They ain't around anymore.
And they stopped paying motherfuckers.
Yeah, they stopped paying people. Suck my dick. Whatever. Yo, this is man. Look, this ad bros.
That's
Man.
the
No
Fuck
soft
that.
talk.
That's the
No.
Hennessy, man.
Yeah. Nah, I'm on orange juice. Nigga, that's me every day.
Orange juice.
Oh, my
He
bad.
not
I got a little
drunk
here.
yet.
Whatever. But anyway, yo,
I was
so
trying to give you an out.
I gotta admit though, I gotta give Don Coleman like props though when I was there, because he did have this manifesto that we would never produce any type of advertising that had us singing and dancing. Now I gotta give him that, right? Because we didn't produce at the time when I was there any type of advertising that kind of made us look like clowns, coons, buffoons, or whatever, right? So yeah, I agree with you on that. Does everybody have that same sentiment? No. And it's sad to say that because everybody has different issues and different goals. Like, you know, motherfucking getting $5,000 for a shoot. $5,000 in a certain town, man, you can buy a lot of chicken and Hennessy.
Or
You can. I mean,
or
I'm dead
shit,
serious.
Or even if you in L.A., if you a struggling actor
Yeah.
or whatever, and you
fills
ain't
up your reel.
and you ain't had a decent payday in
gonna do it.
2-3 months,
It's-
rent due, motherfucker.
But it's always money. That's the thing. It's always comes back to money. It always the
Capitalistic
trump card
society.
that white people will always have on everyone else.
It's the money.
is the fact that they print the money.
Well, now, they control it now.
They
'Cause
control it.
They control
And
it.
they
'Cause it's
produce
digital
it and
now.
They print it. So it's always, you know, when people are like, I was just doing my job. Doesn't matter if you were just doing your job,
That's a
killing
fact.
mad motherfuckers in the Middle East, or just doing
Dropping-
your job, doing whatever over here. You were just doing your job. Why? Because our religion in this country is not God. It's capitalism. It's dollar. It's that. That's why. Back to the original question about why fuck the NFL. Because it's niggas running around killing themselves for dollars. I'm good with Cap, actually. I appreciate the stance he took, and I think that even kind of what Jay said, it's like, all right, what's next? But the fact is that what we're not talking about is having played football
Yeah.
and gotten fucked up as a free safety and been knocked out on the field, you know, and coaching not knowing, is that you literally are running around for a check, killing yourself. You know, and that to me is yet again why we need to look at where we started, where we are, and how we get to some sort of balance and equality in this country, or we need to be out.
That's a great point. I will say this. I am an unabashed American capitalist. I believe in making my money unabashed. And I don't have a problem with NFL players going and making the most amount of money they can.
You taking a concussion?
For $40 million, yeah. A bunch of them. Give me some CTE tomorrow, my
Sprinkle
G.
some CTE.
Oh,
get that shit.
tomorrow. So I'll
But
say
do
this.
you even know if you have CTE?
Oh, you'll know.
You'll know.
I think you'll know.
When you can't move
Yeah.
your fucking arms and legs,
Yeah.
and you just walking around
I've-
in your head, and your body slowly shutting down to the point where your
So you
lungs
know it.
and heart stop.
I've
Yeah,
probably had 6 or 7 concussions in my previous career, so yeah, I know about concussions.
Okay.
But with all that being said, my point is this: why I don't fuck with the NFL is because it is inauthentic. It is a liar. So you're not going to allow someone to play football because they take a political stand, but you let wife beaters,
Yeah.
drug dealers, drug users,
One hit a quitter niggas in
murderers.
elevators.
Hello, Ray Lewis killed a person and came back to play.
Did you all see?
He's a commentator.
Did you all see the?
And
He's a commentator.
It's hypocrisy. That's
Did you see
my stance.
But did you see the Breakfast Club interview about what T.O. was on the Breakfast Club, and he gave an explanation about why somebody can get
missed that.
canceled from the NFL? And he said it doesn't even matter like your political stance. He said the mere fact if you don't fit a certain optic, whatever that may be, you gone.
A winner. I think if
Well, I
like,
mean, I think the
And if
optic-
you're not winning, he said it. If you're not winning,
if Cap was winning, I think it'd be a little bit of a different story.
I mean, homie went to the Super Bowl though, bro. Came up just short.
Yeah, but a lot
not
of
when
people went to the
not
Super
when he
Bowl
was
and
not-
lost,
not-
bro.
yeah, not when he was kneeling. He was
A lot of people went to the Super Bowl and lost,
I mean,
so
we
that
talk-
don't matter.
for me, we don't own the shit anyway, so I don't give a fuck two ways or the other, to be honest with
he
you.
not better than,
I don't own the Super Bowl, the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball. I don't care about none of those organizations.
But my thing is, we control the product. If all brothers
Yeah.
like Jim Brown was the best lacrosse player, bar none,
Yeah.
in the history of the fucking sport.
Yeah.
If all of us decided we're gonna go take those same football players and want to play lacrosse, then guess what? The lacrosse League of America becomes the biggest shit. We are the talent.
True.
We are the product. We control it. If we can start to think that way, then we can control the dollar.
But what controls
That's a good
things?
ad,
When I
too.
think about this, right? You know, what's the one thing that unites any group of people around a control system? And that would be adversity. If you think about, like, you know, one of the reasons why most people that are like, you know, of like Spanish speaking dialect or language are like actually still kind of thick with each other. Well, one, language, and two, culture. They got the same issues. The country don't want them here, right? The Irish came here because, they wanted new opportunities. The country didn't want them here either, and they just took over the fire department and the police department, right? Same thing with the man. Like, the country don't want him either.
You cannot say
I can say what the fuck I want on this podcast. I can say what I want. You can bleep that bitch out. Here you say, hey, in my house? Shit. But, you know, anybody from, like, let's be honest, little guy who owned all the little corner stores, country didn't want them here, right? I mean, Chinatown was created with the intent that the country did not want people of Chinese descent to be here. And they created these towns all over the city, all over the country, right? So I just think if you're talking about uniting black people, we got to figure out what our real adversities is, right? What's our real issues besides the fact that racism is that? Because a lot of times, a lot of us don't even agree on that. A lot of us want us to even stop talking about racism.
Yeah.
So I just feel like until something big like old school racism, like in your face, tanks showing up at your door, and dogs being sicked on you, until that type of shit really show up again, I don't know. It's hard to get black people to really be on the same page. Because back then, we always, regardless if you were Muslim, you was Christian, or you was part of the Panthers, or you was part of SELC, or SNCC, or any of those groups, the OAAU, or whatever, we all had the same common enemy, and that was, you know, the government, white supremacy. It was in your face. It's kind of not in your face as much now. It's easy to be black in Atlanta. It's easy to be black here.
So I think we kind of deviated and went to the Cap conversation that we sparked in here a couple of different times. Just on the subject of still things that happened this month in sports, let's talk about All-Star real quick. All-Star was in my home city, your home city too, Colfax, Chicago for the first time since 1988. Did anybody watch the All-Star game? It was a new format this year. What were your thoughts on
It was great.
Great,
It was
very
great.
competitive.
I love that
Energy
fourth
was
quarter,
up.
man. That fourth quarter, everybody was really trying to win that game.
Yeah.
Like taking charges, arguing foul calls, strategizing free throws. We're gonna take it off the backboard.
Yeah,
It was fantastic.
Most All-Star games are like just a shootout, no defense. It's just
Oh, that fourth
it's like a
quarter
double dribble game or some shit.
From my position, the NBA is the greatest single entertainment product in the world right
Yeah.
now. You could argue European football potentially, but for me, coming from a city where my team has been shit since at least 2012.
Yeah, your team won 6 rings.
In the 90s, nigga,
My
that's 30
team
years
won
ago.
shit.
Hey, that's whole kids that was born going
My
to
team
college.
ain't won.
That ain't never seen it.
But y'all niggas got it. My team won shit.
And I'm sorry for you, but
God
the fact
damn. How niggas be complaining when he won?
is that right now we got
Winners
the
be-
worst franchise in the league, next to New York Knicks, which is I'm so happy
Y'all
they
had the
exist.
greatest player that ever played the
as
game.
a Chicagoan, I'm actually going to agree with you, AD. I think the direction that you're going,
I
I
feel
hear
him.
you.
Let me finish.
But, all right, go ahead.
So
finish.
my point was that
This is a weekly thing.
I believe that they increased that property even further in the rethinking and the nimbleness that they have been in or been on since the tragedy of Kobe and Gianna Bryant, and they included that. But even
and
how
others.
and others
who were there.
and I hate to even describe them as the others, but
But
the 7
the people,
other
the
families
folks
that were
over there.
affected and
Yes.
lost theirs.
Yes.
But the point is that they included that and made the product even better. Looking at the All-Star game from being at 3 different games within one game, and then the last quarter having to meet cross that threshold, which alleviated the time where they're just running out the clock. So now it becomes like a pickup game, on 63rd and Hayes or at Avalon Park, where I'm from, where it's like,
at the Rucker in
or
New York.
at the Rucker, whatever. Y'all got clocks at the Rucker because y'all fucking
Nobody plays pickup at the Rucker.
the point is that
players playing.
Yeah, the point is that it felt more like a game that we all participate in versus their game. And that was what made it more entertaining to me. And I hope that they keep that. And I thought that was well done. But I also thought that all of the other entertainment around it, I thought Common represented so well for
His intro was dope.
For us as black men from the south side of Chicago, but really just generally, I thought that was dope. Chance, we talked about that in regard to just like, Rose and I talked about like what's Chance's position in Chicago and all that stuff. And I love Chance as a young black man. I'll withhold thoughts on like his rhyme style and all that shit. But I thought he did all right, for the concert. I thought it was overall, I thought it was well done. I thought All Star was really well done.
I thought it was good. Like I like the idea of it being competitive in the fourth quarter. I think All Star Weekend is like one of those things that's like, I guess like growing up as a kid, it meant more to me. But I think now like I gotten older and just like the lack of competitiveness and everybody want to be friends, like it's just one of those things like I start to care less about because like no one. I think it also threw me off when they started to do the whole team. LeBron, whole team, Giannis, like that was like,
I'm actually not a fan of that either.
But I like the cause though.
I get it.
I like it to be East versus West.
Yeah,
right. Like
the East don't have enough stars.
But that's whose fault is that?
Right.
Like like the
I mean,
has to figure that out.
no, I was just gonna say like I just think that like having players pick their boys to play with them or whatever. Like I get what they're doing, like making it kind of like playgroundish or whatever. That's cool, but the East-West format to me, it was less confusing.
Yeah.
Right.
Like as a consumer,
But
like
you don't like to see players play against each other who are on the same team. Like I would love to see.
To me,
I would love to see Ben Simmons dunk on Joel Embiid.
it diminishes the foundation to me of why you root for these teams and the loyalty you have. Like I don't want to be on some East versus West shit. But the fact is that there's a level of like
Killed over
loyalty
East versus
for
West
sure,
shit, yeah.
and there's a level of loyalty that I'm kind of like I don't have any longer. And I think to your point, 1,000 about like the NBA kind of being boring now and things like that. I don't agree with that.
it just makes the format now. I feel like makes it even more player centric than it already is.
Exactly. And that was my point, is that you're no longer like, all right, you definitely no longer have like a team that you wake up every season and come into the season with knowing that it's going to be Jordan, Pippen, Grant, Paxson, or whatever, and then some other cats. The last team that's done that was like the Warriors, where they just knew that was going to be their team. Now everybody's mixed around, so I still don't know who's on like the Lakers besides obviously AD, LeBron, and a couple other cats. But the fact is, like, there are cats on teams where I'm like, oh shit, he plays for Memphis now. And so like, let me just conclude quickly, is that the loyalty is now diminished. So when you take away East from West, now it's kind of like you really don't have the ability to, like, as a fan, which is 99.9% of all of us, sink your teeth into something and be like, that's who I'm rooting for. Now it's just like, all right, where's my guy at? Oh, okay, he's on LeBron's team.
Yeah.
And to your point, you had like a top 5 guy go have an MVP performance season, win a championship, and then just dip. After 1 year.
That's the new NBA. That's the new NBA.
That's gangster.
Right.
So
Top
you
5
can't
guy.
now, if you're a kid in Toronto, let's say you're young ass Drake, 12 years old or whatever, and I always tell the story every time we do this podcast damn near about how Jordan, even in the Kobe Memorial, I teared up more watching Jordan come up on that stage than anybody else because that's my fucking hero. That's my hero. You know what I mean? I remember walking into the gym off 83rd at Avalon Park and him being inside of that hot ass gym. So people always be like, yo, Jordan didn't do shit. No, he did a lot. He did a lot for kids growing up at a certain time on the south side of Chicago. But the point is that do kids have the relationships with these players anymore? You know what I'm saying? Do they have the ability to like have a poster on their wall and him be in that jersey? You know, because like right now, it breaks my heart to look at D Rose in a Pistons jersey.
They just follow
You know?
him on
Those
social.
are your nemesis.
Yeah, exactly.
Son, they just follow him on social as opposed to like throwing a
That's
poster on the wall.
bullshit to me.
So let me ask another question about All Star. So a lot of people, I remember like I was watching All Star like the days before All Star. All of the like ESPN folks were like, "Oh, it's so cold in Chicago. It's gonna be this, blah blah blah." Do you think that like the weather in Chicago has something to do with it not being in Chicago since '88?
No, it was the owner, bro.
Yeah, Reinsdorf.
It was the owner. The owner had turned it down for over 20 years.
Yeah. He was like,
Really?
you don't make any
Yeah.
money off of it.
Yeah, they don't make money.
You lose money
That's-
on All Star.
That's the
Gotcha.
the NBA makes the money. The team in the
You
arena
lose
does not.
money on All Star. It's kind of like cities when they have the Olympics. You
Yeah.
end up losing money on it.
Right.
And Reinsdorf being the worst owner in the league next to arguably Dolan.
They're top two.
Yeah, they're definitely. I don't think that. I
It
honestly,
depends on the day.
honestly, I think that Reinsdorf is racist, whereas I don't really believe Dolan is
Right,
racist. I
right,
think
right.
Dolan's just a rich kid,
Right.
whereas I think Reinsdorf is literally on some like old white man that owns black men type shit.
Yeah,
And
I would
he-
agree.
And he treats the White Sox in the same way. So it's just like, and he's more concerned with the White Sox. He literally said he would trade in all of those 6 championships that you lost for that one White Sox ring that we got in 05.
Wow. He trolling out.
Yeah, so we're just waiting on him to die, honestly. So he can get
Oh, you
the
gotta get
fuck
Paxton
the
up
way.
out of there too.
Well, that'll
Well, that's
if
his
he
boy,
dies, then
so
all
that's
of
a
them
whole
go.
thing.
Yeah, he goes, all of them go. So,
Damn.
but that's why we never had it.
But what do you all think about All Star being in cold cities, one, and then two being in non-NBA cities?
They don't play outside though. Like they're not outside. But the
Well,
one thing,
but the vibe is.
But I think it
different, right?
becomes a thing when you talk about outside of the NBA, like events and other brands trying to do something in the city. It's not difficult, but I think it's a little bit difficult to move and do stuff. Because when they had it in New York, it was brick that year, and it was kind of hard to go
the
to events and
NHL
shit.
every year does an outside game.
I remember.
That's cool.
The NHL
The
is
NHL
on
is
ice.
an outside game, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
But I don't think there's brand or fan experiences around that.
For hockey players.
The same way that it is for like the NFL for the Super Bowl or the NBA with All Star. I think
not
they're
a
different.
I'm not a hockey guy, but what I'm saying is that they embrace the spirit of the game and they go outside in the cold. Boston, New York, Chicago. So I don't understand why we would say it's too cold to have.
I remember being in Atlanta when I first started dating Nicole, like 17 years ago, like NBA All Stars weekend, and I swear, like every motherfucker had on a fur. And Atlanta don't get super cold like that, right? But it was just like it became real StonerCon that weekend, right? All the strip clubs was like packed up.
The price of everything is
Everything went up, man. It was like you had a bunch of parties being thrown that wasn't really attached to like real official NBA stars. Like I think Chris Webber and Tyra Banks was throwing a party at Lenox Square at a restaurant, like some babby ass restaurant that regular people go to, and they didn't even show up to it, right? So it was kind of like people were just getting their hustle on. I know that year, so
I think that happens at All Star every year.
I think so,
and
right?
that's the part of All Star that I love, though. Like,
yeah,
I love
the
that.
city get their grind on,
Yeah,
right?
I like that.
Well,
I feel like All Star is like a black holiday in a way.
I agree. I
It's
agree.
like a black. It's a black experience.
Yet
Yeah.
again, during Black History
Yeah.
During
Month.
Black History Month, right?
it is.
a lot of money to be made though.
All right. So one last thing on this month, so we could wrap this up. Also, we know that Kobe, like you said, unfortunately passed within the last month. What did you all think of the respective tributes, his legacy? We had the whole Gayle versus Snoop thing that happened. We've seen a lot of brothers get tattoos of Kobe paying homage to him on their bodies. Like, I really just want to get collective thoughts on all of that.
I mean, honestly, I know we joked about it a lot in the chat about tats, but I don't think any of us can talk about what Kobe personally has been to that person. So, like, honestly, anybody who got a Kobe tat, like, shouts to you. I wouldn't do it, but like, I think I respect it. But I think
You respect a man getting a tattoo of another man on him that he don't know?
I don't know if he don't know him personally.
Hey, you would say that to Mike Tyson?
I don't
He
know.
Got
I don't-
mouth tattoo on
It's
his
a
arm.
lot of shit I won't say to Mike Tyson. I don't even know the relevance of that. Like,
Well, he got another man
I'm
tattoo on his arm.
I'm not fucking with Mike, bro. He's an outlier. You don't. You don't talk to him. You don't look at him in his face, bro. Unless he say
That's
you
true.
can. Because at 55, he'll kill you.
He still kill you. Yeah.
One hit.
Yeah.
Kill you, dead. No, but I'm sorry.
Nah, it's funny. No, honestly, I don't know what Kobe has done for them.
I know for me as a father, man, like, you know, Kobe's passing was like, it touched me from that perspective because, you know, the guy got like 4 kids and he was with his daughter when he passed, unfortunately. But, you know, it just speaks to, like, you know, a guy like him, is in his impact off the court as a stand-up dude who was obviously doing a lot with the WNBA. He was doing things with the Mamba League, with the young ladies. Like, he really was putting, like, his talent into, like, the next generation of athletes and just overall the game, right? So I think a guy like that, you know, like his passing, it did touch me in that manner, man. And it's like, you know, there's a lot of dumb motherfuckers out here that we cry about all the time who don't do shit. But in the case of him, man, you know, I really believe that, you know, that was a loss to the culture. But at the same time, he'll live on forever because you can't take away what he's done, period, right? You can't take that away from him. Even if the media and, you know, I don't even want to talk about the Gale thing because that's whatever. But, you know, you can try to take down this man's legacy, but, you know, one little small blip can't take down all the shit he's done. So, for me, you know, I think the guy is he's well deserved to be respected and honored. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Exactly.
Yeah, it deeply affected me. I mean, it's just, you know, he was our shining fucking prince. You know what I'm saying? The dude came from a basketball legacy. We saw him grow up. I remember literally the first time I saw him play basketball in high school. And then, you know, he goes off to prom with Brandy and then all the way through the championships, through the Oscar, through being a, you know, girl dad, hashtag. And he was our shining prince in the black community. Obviously, you know, he was flawed and, you know, and I'm not even talking about like the case that was proven he was exonerated from. Right. I'm talking about little shit like Kobe tell me how my ass tastes, you know, like tricking on Shaq, stuff like that. Like that's to me where it was perfectly flawed. I mean, he lived a perfect like up and down life. You know what I'm saying? Like some days you on Kobe's team, other days you like, yo, you fucking narked on Shaq, my guy. Yeah. You know how that go. You really gonna narc on your bro? But he was okay, you know. So like that's why I loved him, and that's why I feel like he was fully worthy of everything.
He might have got from your hood, man.
Yeah, he was just a regular
street guy though. You know? He wasn't a street guy.
Like a hoop.
You know what I loved about Kobe is that I feel like I grew up with Kobe.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like, so Kobe, we were in high school relatively the same time, and like I basically saw his life from 17 to now, right? So like, and he's one of those few characters, at least I feel like in my life, where you really saw like he was on TV so much, and like you knew like, you know, his backstory, like it was like you knew him but you didn't know him, right? So to see, like, you know, like you said, like he had those highs and lows of being like, you know, this prodigy to being arrogant to being like a hero to being a villain, you know, like all of that together. Then you saw him win and you saw him lose, right? All of that together I thought was like amazing, and I thought that the tributes that were done for him, I thought were really great.
And I'm sorry. You sure? Because I was gonna say like it's little things like the fact that we all have opinions on his movements. I remember when he first got with Vanessa, and I was like, really? Y'all met at a video shoot, and you gonna wife? I remember when his father wasn't speaking to him because he wifed Vanessa, and we all literally, like you said, have grown up with him and have seen him through. And then it's like, after he bought the big ass purple ring, after he, you know, got caught out there, it was like, all right, this dude really is down for her. Okay, so cool. That's real love. And then to hear her be like, yo, I was his only girlfriend ever. He was my only man ever. Like, that shit is so real, son. And I'm just kind of like, that to me is why it was like, it was almost a story. When they tell the documentary or the movie of his life, it's going to be crazy.
Did Spike already do something?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, I guess for me, just thinking about Kobe, like he was just one of those guys that like maxed out on everything. So by the time he retired, like, you know, there was never really a conversation of him coming back. Like he did everything that he needed to do, and I think that's one of the things, I guess, for me that, you know, I took from his Mamba mentality, whatever you want to call it, like kind of like DNA, like, you know, just do the best you can, and then like when your time is up, your time is up. But like, Tracy McGrady said like he wanted to die young. Like they probably were like talking, but they were like really young when they said it. But I mean, like him dying young, it's like, damn, bro. Like basically half his life was in the NBA.
We know him.
Yeah, half
That's
his life was in the
literally-
NBA.
Well,
Yeah.
literally,
Yeah.
Pretty
like,
much, yeah. You're right.
So, and then him pivoting away after retirement and
Winning a fucking Oscar.
Won an Oscar, bro.
How you win an Oscar like the year after you retire? That's crazy.
pivoting away from retirement, winning an Oscar, then dedicating his life to kids. I mean, like I don't know, man. That's it's super commendable, man.
it's
like I don't know him, and you know me, Tony. You know me. I don't really like people I don't know. Blah blah blah
Yeah,
blah.
I
Like,
got
but
you.
it's just one of those things. It's like, damn, it's commendable.
So I'm gonna wrap it up, but I want to actually address something like the little negative piece of it. A lot of folks, like journalists and writers and whatnot, they brought up the negative aspect of Kobe's legacy, right? And that had a little bit of traction and conversation over the last few weeks. There was a specific thing with Gail and Snoop. We all saw that. We saw,
Gail
you
King,
know,
you're talking about.
yeah, Gail King. I'm sorry. We saw her interview. We heard her apology for her conversation with Lisa Leslie. We saw Snoop get on.
Insta stories, right?
He got on his Insta story and said his thing, and then he went back and apologized on Red Table Talk. What are like you all's thoughts, real quick, before we wrap this up? What are you all's thoughts on that whole Kobe's legacy, the Gail versus the journalist bringing that up? What are your thoughts?
Honestly, I try not to say things I have to apologize for later. I really avoid that. And I think what Gail did was her job, but it wasn't in good taste.
I mean, for me, man, I don't care about either Gail or Snoop on that end because the motherfuckers got more money than me.
Absolutely.
And, they going to say what they going to say. And he going to do some shit. And she going to feel a certain way. But what I just think the bigger issue for me, bro, it wasn't so much what she said, which I thought was fucked up, and even how he responded to it. It's how, like, the rest of the media came to protect Gail. But it's like, Gail, you didn't lose your fucking husband and your daughter, like in a helicopter crash. You going to get over this. You got your life, bitch. You got your life. This nigga died in a fucking helicopter, right? Nah, keep that. Nah, dead ass. It's kind of like, yo, here we are trying to protect people who don't need no protection. She got an $11 million check a year. Fuck you protecting her ass. I'm
That's
sorry.
how- I mean, but
I'm
that's-
sorry. And even with Snoop, it's like, okay, Snoop didn't have to say that shit. But who am I as a grown man to tell another grown man what he should or should not say? We live in a country where
That's fair.
It's freedom of speech. Now, I wouldn't say that, but at the same time, Snoop a grown ass fucking man. Now, he said that shit. Motherfuckers talk like that back in the days. It just, unfortunately, it's gonna fuck up his bag because he talked shit on Instagram. He got to walk back what he said, and he said some shit. Now, for me, just going forward, I just think overall, bro, when it comes down to like protecting our legacy, I just feel like we ought to know better and do better. And Gail knew better; she should have did better.
I think we're just in this era right now of just like clout chasing.
Yeah.
And I felt like that's what Gail tried to like. She tried to relive that R. Kelly moment because she was in contractual negotiations at the time, and that brought so many views. Like that R. Kelly going crazy, like you're killing me or whatever the hell he was talking about.
Well, he's stupid.
Like right. So
That nigga goofy.
So I think
goofy as fuck.
I honestly think that she tried to relive that moment
He
a
deserved
bit,
that
just
shit.
going down that pathway with Lisa Leslie, who in a classy manner and fashion said like, we're not gonna go there.
Yeah.
Like you had 17
She was a
years,
champ, man.
or
She
X
was a
amount of
champ.
years to actually ask.
She was
those
a champ.
questions.
I absolutely love the way that
She
Lisa
handled it.
disarmed that whole thing.
100.
She was like, we're not
So
gonna do that.
so we had 21 years or whatever X amount of time to ask these questions, and now we're talking about this. Is crazy. And then I just think that with Snoop, it's I just feel like we've pivoted away from what this whole thing was about. Right, so now it goes from Gail. She's asking the questions that people didn't like it, and now Snoop reacts. Now he's sitting at the table with Jada Pinkett, her daughter, her mom, and it's
fuck y'all
like now
got to
you're
do with any
taking
of
power.
this shit?
So it had nothing to do with Kobe.
I mean, can I like broaden it a bit?
Broaden.
It to me comes from a different place. Having worked with Snoop and really respect Snoop as a black man myself, Snoop has lived the life of every black man
At this table.
literally at this
But his raps
table
are
and on
mad
the
whack,
street
though.
that you're going to see.
Yeah.
But his raps are mad whack.
He has
though.
been, come on,
He's
son.
whack.
He's one of the top 20
That,
MCs.
that's
of all
reps
we
are whack.
digress.
Can we not go
We
there?
digress. We
The
digress.
point is that I
careful,
was
nigga.
disappointed that this Snoop that we now this businessman Snoop and all this shit, he kind of like fell back a ways and he took the bait. That was my first thing, but I understand why. If you go back to because you can't have Gail without Oprah, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you know they come as this like kind of
They're a
like
package.
this connection, right? Because Gail's only put on because of Oprah. And if you look at their track record of how they treat and approach black men, literally from decades ago, you know what I'm saying? Like I understand why Snoop, and I don't know if he was thinking on this level, but why he reacted in the manner with which he did. From Oprah first being the one to dog whistle about black men being
Predators, bro.
predators in the closet, like as gay, gay or whatever, like
Down
like
low.
down low, which to me was like, okay, that just means you're a gay man that's not out the closet yet, which is all gay men until they say I'm gay in the world.
Exactly.
So, but we get the down low shit, so that makes us more nefarious. If you look at Oprah and Gail, how even
Damn,
when they
that's
talk
deep.
to
I ain't even think about it like that.
That's deep, bro.
yeah. When they, the way they approach all these things, all the way through R. Kelly, all the way up until the Lisa Leslie interview, it's always that. So I understand where he came from, but at the same time, he shouldn't have taken the bait.
Yeah.
Straight up and down. You got
Listen,
too much
man.
to lose right now, Snoop.
Yeah, bro.
Listen,
You
man,
know?
to be overly controversial in this climate is wrong. You're wrong for that. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't fall for the shit.
You know, like,
And I'll say one thing. So I think about
She got
who's
an aura rig.
whose ascension from hip hop to pop culture: Snoop, Will Smith,
Jay-Z.
Queen Latifah, Jay.
Exactly.
That's the hierarchy. So why you don't fuck up the bag?
Exactly.
So we're saying he was compromised.
That's a
When-
He
when-
compromised himself.
He compromised himself.
He,
But,
he
but-
didn't have to say anything at all.
no, he didn't have to say anything. But now he said it. So now you're gonna stand.
Now you gotta go apologize.
but you know what though? So initially I thought that until I actually watched the whole little red table shit. I thought about it in this context, right? Like you all know me, right? And you know I pretty much say whatever the fuck I want to say, right? At any given moment. And I'm thinking about it like if somebody attacked one of my friends, right? Like one of you all, one of my frat brothers or whatever, and they attacked them in like in a similar or different way or whatever, right?
Especially after death.
Especially after death.
Yeah.
My initial thought may be very similar to Snoop's, right?
Right.
My only problem with Snoop in this whole thing is why are we getting on IG and doing this shit?
Yeah.
That's a lot of steps.
Why are we at the point now of our lives? Why do we have to get on these platforms
that are not even owned by you.
that are not even owned by you or anybody that look like you? Why do you have to get on here and give this content away of you, cursing out, disrespecting a black woman? You are not representing your best self in that same light. Like you could have said a lot of things that tore her up without even cursing. But you hopped on there and you went very street. I get it. Everybody in here is from the street. We all get it,
Very
right?
emotional.
But I'm just
That
saying,
was
like,
very emotional.
like it just wasn't necessary. But then the second part of that, I think, the fact that he said he had the conversation with his mom. I think every black man in here, for the most part, you can have a relationship with your mom. I know I do. My mom is actually the only person who can make me feel like shame. Like my mom right now, if my mom called me and was like, Darius, I'm ashamed of you, or Darius, like that was whack or whatever, it would make me feel away. No wife, no girlfriend, no other person could make me feel that way, but my mom could. So I understood from that vantage point, I understood that.
So his mother didn't shame him for like his career and the way he ran around and pimping chicks and like, come on, stop it. Not that. Come on, man.
I love man.
I went and spoke to
I
my
love
mother.
Rose, man. Bleep that out. I love Rose,
See that
man.
that part to me was the corniest shit. B. That's the corny. That shit is corny. B. Like, oh yeah, now my mother. I'm 50 years old. Snoop Dogg is 50 years old, bro.
He's a grown
Come on,
man.
stop it.
I'll just say one final thing. My honorable brother taught me a very valuable lesson when I was a very young person.
Who?
I'm talking about you, brother.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
listen.
He's like, who?
In public, we do not disarm black people.
Nah,
We
don't do it.
absolutely.
Don't do it.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah, but
I
we
can
do
be
not talk down on
Can
black
I-
people in public. We say whatever we got to
So,
say.
Can I
here
make one
amongst
last
us.
point?
I would not do that.
Yeah, this is the last point, and then we got to wrap this
Okay.
episode
Yeah.
up.
I'll try to be quickly. Black men don't have a corner.
Oh, a platform.
Black women have a corner.
They got a
Gay,
platform,
gay,
they got a-
gay LGBTQIA plus have their corner.
I agree.
White people have their corner. Black men always standing in the middle of the room,
Black people
taking
looking
shots
around.
from every side. Right?
Like, what's happening?
That's where I felt Snoop's response came from. That was the visceral nature of the emotion that he responded in. Is that we don't have the corner that has our that wall that has our back, where it feels like everybody else does. You know what I'm saying? And we're always exposed. That to me was why I understood. But yet again, I would have snatched that motherfucking phone out of his hand when he started to go to record, like you said, Thou, and put that shit on IG.
Yeah, I know we're closing. I just want to understand, like, where did Jada Pinkett feel like he was taking something away from her and talking to his daughter, and like that was crazy to me.
Because people love to attach themselves me victimized. It ain't got nothing to do with you.
Damn.
It's got nothing to do with you, man.
I mean, yeah, I think let's wrap it up. I think like other cultures, stuff like this, you just need to keep it in house.
Yeah.
Instead of going to public platform.
But
and
they're
then-
public
and-
figures.
I ain't trying to tell
Anything
nobody
goes.
sorry.
Right.
And nothing
yeah.
else. Keep it on the
All
platform
right,
you own.
so
Let's wrap it up, baby.
Rose, you're gonna sign us out, man.
Yo, man, Easy Rose. Feel good to have all the ab bros for the first time in the room together. You know, just talking this whole thing out. So, as you all know, no self talk when it comes to telling the
Soft
truth.
talk.
Yeah.